Adventure on Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
Staring through this cracked window, sun rays beaming down, shifting through the seasons, the leaves are turning brown. In the blink of an eye, they're coloring the ground. And before I know it, the slow fall.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm really excited about our next guest because, first of all, not only do they have some badass new music, but the music has some meaning to a lot of people, including myself, and to them, obviously, which we're going to talk about. So let's welcome to the show, Lunar. How are you?
Good.
The band, you're Alex. But
Yeah. Nobody else is with me, unfortunately.
I know, right? So we'll just pretend they're all there.
Yeah. That's fine. That's what I usually do. So
there you go. So tell us about the new album and what it means to you. You know, it's a concept album that I think's really cool, and I want to hear from your brain.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, the concept. This one, it feels a little more thematic than conceptual to me, and it's splitting hairs, I know, but you know, with the last record we did, The Illusionist, it was like this whole story that was told, you know, from front to back. But this one just kind of has this overarching theme of the passing of time. So, you know, the title of the record, Tempora Mutantur, is a Latin phrase that translates to the passage of time. And so really each song is kind of just dealing with different elements of that everybody faces, you know what I mean? In how we perceive time, how it affects people differently, how your headspace can have those different effects of vacancy, or, you know, when you're in a terrible headspace, how time can seem to move longer, like, you know, seconds feel like hours type things, or the opposite, that the great moments are fleeting, you know, and they just disappear from us too quickly. So it deals with a lot of elements of that, and some of the stuff of like how we try to alter time in our heads too, how we try and hold on to the memories, how we try and escape some memories, you know, things like that.
Yeah. And, you know, first of all, I want to say I'm glad you said thematic, because that does kind of pinpoint it. Some people may say splitting hairs, but to me, there's a huge difference. Yeah. Like you said, you know, a concept album, it's a concept from beginning to end. Right. Whereas something that has a theme can go off the concept and still stay within the theme.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and that's where I get in that, you know, like just specifying with it, because like I feel like when people hear concept album, they think, oh, this is a story that's being told. Yeah. Like if I'm reading a book, I need to start at the beginning and end at the end, you know? Right. This one is not necessarily that. With The Illusionist, yes, the last record, I feel it was that. But this record, no, you can have each individual chapter kind of sitting as their own piece, but it has this overarching theme throughout it, you know?
Nice. Yeah, I agree. And then, you know, I think the theme of good music is that an artist is portraying something from deep inside of them, some kind of message, but whoever is listening is too. It just may not be the same message. It may be in the same realm, but you put your own meaning to it, you know?
Yep. And I 100% agree. And I often try and think of that in writing, especially lyrically, because of the fact that, you know, the songs that I've connected with, that the artist that wrote it may have had a very specific thing that happened to them, but that's not the same thing that happened to me necessarily. Yeah. But I can, you know, have those words kind of latch onto my own personal experiences, and I want to make it the same way. So there's this, you know, kind of vague metaphors within the lyric writing where I want it to be something that means something personally to me, but also be able to have individuals attached to it in their own way, you know?
It's so key because to me, the key to a great lyricist is that when I hear a song, it hits me somewhere like deep and like real, but that wasn't the intention of the artist. They just put the lyrics in the song so that you could put your own meaning to it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I think there is, you know, some intention behind it from an artist's standpoint, but also like to your point of what you're saying, it's the bigger intention is it's coming from something real from me, from the artist that's writing it, you know.
Right, because if I'm in the audience, yes, there is some intention to hit the audience, but you don't know my specific meaning that I
exactly. Yeah,
you know?
yeah, 100%. And ultimately, you know, as a musician, as an artist, you know, like I want what I'm putting out there to connect with people, but also even if it connected with no one, it means something to me, you know, and it always will.
And it has to first. Like it's not going to mean anything to anybody else until it means something to you, because to me, any kind of art is expression, and especially expression of feelings and emotions.
Right. Yeah. And I 100% agree. And yeah, and the stuff that I like to approach is the dark stuff in the world, essentially, and because it's an outlet for that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the themes within these Lunar records are they're dark, they're depressing, you know what I mean? And yes, they come from my own personal experiences, but they're this outlet of, you know, it's I can't therapy. Change that. Yeah, exactly. 100%. Yeah.
And it's therapy for you, the artist, but it's also therapy for me, the listener, because, you know, again, putting my own meaning to it, like that, it's so therapeutic. If it weren't for music, I would have either killed myself or killed somebody else. One of the two. Okay.
Yep. I feel like that could be said for so many of us, and that's why we gravitate towards this type of music. I think, you know, there's the conceptual aspects, the personal meanings, but then also there's the musicianship behind it too. You know what I mean? And when we listen to metal artists, at least for me personally, it's a lot of the like, my God, that guy is incredible. And it sounds great. And it hits me right in the feels. It's got everything, you know, everything that I want.
And you know what? It especially metal, like there's some innate bond between all of us, even if we don't know each other.
Right.
Because of the darkness of the music and the therapy it provides us.
I agree. Yeah, because I've had this conversation with people before where it's, you know, because of the fact that the people that gravitate towards this music, you know, that we're here because we've been through some type of hardship in our life.
Yeah.
And no doubt. There is this, like, you see somebody walking down the street in a metal t-shirt and there's just this, like, I don't know you, but there's this instant camaraderie, you know?
No doubt that nobody else can understand. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's the funny part. Like I have a brother, he can't really understand it too well. And I talk about even like getting together with a woman. I'm like, I need a woman that likes metal. And he's like, well, that's kind of ridiculous at your age. No, it's not. You don't get it. It's more than just listening to a song. It's not teenage angst. It's, you know, it's like people that say to me, oh, well, I used to like metal. If you say you used to like metal, you never really liked metal. And some of the stuff you think you liked wasn't really metal.
Yeah. It didn't have that meaning, that attachment to people who are saying it like that, I think, you know. And so, you know, there could be the surface level of just like, oh, I used to enjoy it musically, but nothing else about it, you know. And then but like you're saying, like, you know, having a partner that likes metal, it's because of that connection factor, you know.
100%. And like the conversations you can even have, you know, that you can't have with somebody else because they won't understand it, you know. And you know, the thing is too is most of us metalheads at a point in life, and it doesn't have to be now. It was way back when we were a kid or a teenager. We were the outsiders.
Yeah.
And we were the freaks, the this, the that.
Mm-hmm.
But when we go to a metal show or a metal festival, there are no outsiders.
Yeah.
And we don't even have to all be exactly the same. We're just all part of this family, and we have different ways that we express what we're feeling and why we're there.
Yeah, exactly. And but that instant camaraderie, though.
Yeah,
you know, it's
judgment, judgment, none of the things we experience out in the outside world. Let's put it.
Yeah, I agree.
And you know, even with your album, okay, what I think's cool about your album is, you know, the passage of time. I've been finding this out even more than ever recently. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is so different in different stages of life. Like, you were spot on with, you know, the bad times, but then you look back on the bad times too, and it seems like a blip in time when you're like 10, 20 years ahead of the bad times, you know?
Right. Yeah.
But while you're in it, it's like, it seems like it's a million years.
Yeah, eternity. But then, good and bad memories. And you look back on them in all this time, and it becomes, like you said, just this drop in the bucket, you know, and it's so weird. And I've reflected on that a lot in recent years, of becoming a father. And I feel like that's what's latched onto it a lot for me, because, you know, you constantly have people of the generation before that have raised their kids already, that when you have little kids at home, they tell you like, oh my God, cherish this time. This is the best time. But I'm just sitting here like, oh my God, I'm exhausted all the time, and I don't know if I'm doing the right thing by my kids. And everybody's telling me latch onto this, but I feel like, and then when you get to that point, they're like, it's gone in an instant.
Oh yeah, like I can tell you, for me specifically, like this is why I've been talking about it lately. It seems to me the last 30 years, I blinked my eye and it happened. But before that, it was slow as shit. Okay. You know, and then even to your point with kids, okay, I have 4 kids and they're all adults. While they were kids, 18 seemed like a million years away.
Right.
And now 18 is a million years away, as my oldest is 40 now. You know, it's like, but it's a million years away in the other direction.
Right. Yeah. And then you try and think back to when they're 5 and you're like, man, I barely remember that, you know?
And time goes so fast. And it's what's wild is the older you get, the faster it goes. Because I was talking about this with my brother's mother, who's about to be 90.
Okay.
And she says, you think it goes fast at your age? You should try my age. And it's true. It's like, the days just whiz by every year that you get older. It's the weirdest thing. And, you know, so the whole passage of time is like, it is perfect because everybody that's going to hear this music is going to have a different feel from that. And then even, you know, I also like kind of from your music trauma bonded with you, because I've had several people pass away in the last few years, including, and I don't mean just people, like the closest people in my life, like the people that like were in my life most of my life, that aren't now, you know, and it's a weird trip, and it is, I think it's great that even if you're not doing it on purpose, that you're paying homage to Ryan, who passed away in 2018, because there would be no band without him, and it's got to be really weird after he passes to even continue the band.
It certainly is. Thank you, by the way, for saying all that. It means a lot to me, because he wasn't just a bandmate, not a colleague to me. You know what I mean? He was one of my best friends in life, and we had known each other since we were 11 years old. You know. So it's something that is definitely like you're saying, it's one of the people that it's not just somebody you knew that passed away, which not, you know, diminishing that for anybody in any way. It's difficult to deal with no matter what when you lose somebody, but when it's somebody that had been a part of your life for most of your life, it hits you daily for years and years and years. It doesn't go away. It gets better, but it doesn't go away.
Yeah, and I gotta give you props for keep going on, because I mean, like, I lost my best friend of life, who was like a brother to me since we're 13 years old, last year. And this is the dude that I went to thousands of gigs with during the 80s, like when we were teenagers.
Yeah.
And lots of shenanigans, because 80s metal in LA. And then we would take the Greyhound bus or hitchhike up to the Bay Area when Slayer and Metallica left LA and left us with all the other bands we didn't want to go see. And and it's like, I go on tour and I do radio coverage of festivals all over the US, UK, and Europe. And now every time I go to a festival, it's weird to me, because my bro ain't around to either be there or to share it with.
Yeah. It's I totally 100% understand what you mean. And yeah, it's a weird thing. And going back to our perception of it too, because it's, you have to change your perception of life, essentially, because it's somebody that was always there and now is not. And you have to shift sometimes everything that you do depending on who that person is, and it'll hit you in the weirdest ways when, you're at a festival or something I've had where, a song comes on and I just think, oh man, Ryan would love this, I should text him. Oh wait.
Exactly.
Like that can't happen. And for me, it's happened twice, not just with Ryan, but my childhood best friend that I knew from 8 years old, he passed away in a car accident when he was 21. And he was like a brother to me, and so it's certainly between the two of them, it's something that I feel comes through in the stuff that I write often, because I deal with it every day,
Yeah, and I can't even imagine what it would be like to be in a band with somebody and then they're gone and be up on stage or creating, and like they're not there, but they are there in spirit, but they're not physically there. And that's why I give you kudos for creating new music. And see, the way I look at it is, you're exactly right. You kind of have to change the way you think. You have to change your attitude, because you can't change what happened. Okay.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And I am a motivational speaker, so I believe in that stuff wholeheartedly. So the fact that you're writing music, that's, to me, the best therapy and grief counseling you could have.
And I thank you. And it's helpful to me, but again, going back to what we were saying earlier too, and like you said, instant trauma bond with it, you know what I mean? That means the world to me, because if I can take the stuff that I've experienced and put it in to a record that can help somebody else that's going through the same kind of trauma, then I've won at life. You know what I mean? Like,
and that proves you're a true musician, because that's how a true musician thinks. There's a difference between the musician and the person, even though they don't even exist anymore, that wants to be a rock star. It is a different way of thinking, because there's a different path you're taking, a different goal. And for a true musician, it is about exactly what you just said.
Yeah. And thank you. Yeah, it like I said, it means a lot to me to hear that, because that's what I hope for with this. You know what I mean? Like I was saying before, it's always going to mean something to me. But if it's out there around the world and connecting with and helping other people, then I'm over the moon.
There you go. So tell everybody how they can reach out to you guys on the web, socials. Get the new album, check out tour dates, and most importantly, buy merch, because that's the only way bands survive nowadays. There are no more rock stars. They need you to buy their merch.
Yes, please. It's so helpful. You have no idea, everyone. So socials, we're on all the regular stuff: Facebook, Instagram, X, Twitter, YouTube, whatever. All just look Lunar Band Official. And then for music and merch, go to our Bandcamp page, lunarbandofficial.bandcamp.com. You'll find all the stuff there. There's you can buy the albums digitally as opposed to just streaming them, which even that is very helpful support. But there's tons of physical merch too. There's CDs, there's limited cassettes, there's vinyls, there's T-shirts, beanies, all kinds of fun stuff.
I love that you have cassettes.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
cool.
I love the cassettes. They're cool. They, even if you don't play them, they're cool little collector's items. You know,
No doubt. I mean, I still have my cassettes from the 80s. And it's just kind of cool to have it. Like, it doesn't sound the best, but it's cool to have it. Who cares? You know?
Yep. I agree. And it's I love collecting things personally, and so I like that. You know, each album, the cassettes are like different colored shells going with the artwork. You know, like the
cool.
Eidolon is purple cassettes, and the Illusionist is red cassettes. You know, so it's cool little collector's items, I think.
I love it. Any other things you want to let the listeners know about that we haven't covered already?
Yes. One last thing is, if you're in the Vancouver area, we'll be playing at the Hyperspace Metal Festival in April 11th. We're playing there with Glyph and Enforcer and Psychostick. It's going to be a fun time.
Wow. I think I'm going to have to check that out. There was another band I interviewed yesterday that they couldn't announce yet, but they said they were playing some festival, and it was in Canada, but they can't announce it yet. And so I'm wondering if that's the same one.
I'm inclined to think no, because that one's been announced for a while. So
yeah, I guess that may be true.
I think I know which one it is, but I'm not going to say because I don't want to ruin it for that artist that you interviewed.
Yeah, there was another one that I thought it was in my head, but I haven't mentioned that one yet. But then when you mentioned that, I'm like, maybe I should check and see. Maybe it's that one. So there you go. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, but this one it's in about 6 weeks in Vancouver, and actually, even though Lunar has existed for over 10 years, it's always been a studio-only project with all the hardships between Ryan's death and members far away and stuff. We never have played with this band on live. All of us are musicians in other projects. We've played and toured plenty, but this band has never played live. This festival in Vancouver will be our first live appearance ever after existing for 10 years.
Wow. And, you know, that's funny because now you answered another question. I was going to say, man, how come you haven't been at Aftershock since you're from Sacramento?
Yeah. I'd tell them to call me. I'm ready. I'm here.
There you go. Well, yeah, I do Aftershock every year. It's one of the coolest festivals, I think, in the States at least. You know? Yeah, no, it's a fun one, and it's like 20 minutes from where I live. Yeah, and so I've been quite a few times. And actually, one year during System of a Down set, I broke 4 bones in my foot. Wow, that was such a memorable set too. I remember, like, everybody, not just a few. Every single person in the crowd sang every single song of the whole set. I have never witnessed that in my life. Okay. Thousands of shows. That gave me chills. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. I missed most of it because it was pretty early in their set that my foot got stomped on and I couldn't stand anymore. And I got wheeled out and had to go to the hospital. So I saw maybe 2 or 3 songs from System before that happened. Yeah, and but it was crazy for sure. Just the crowd was insane for them.
Oh, no doubt about it. And you know, of course, last year Slayer. You know, that's a little crazy too.
Yeah. I wasn't there last year, so
we'll have to see you guys at Aftershock next year, in 2026, unless you can sneak it. You know what you could do? It'd be funny if you listen. Don't tell Danny Wimmer I told you this. But, okay, so there's this band, Silly Goose. And they actually crashed Louder Than Life. I think it was Louder Than Life or Rockville. I couldn't remember what, but I think it was Louder Than Life. And they were playing in the parking lot. Like, they pulled up with their trailer and played in the parking lot, just like old school shit, man. And Danny Wimmer himself was sitting out there just watching them instead of busting them, you know?
Yeah.
the next day they played on one of the stages, and they've been playing Danny Widmer festivals since. So
that's
maybe
awesome.
that's the plan. Just show up after.
Yeah. maybe. You know what, too? On a side note, if they are listening, I just saw that 2025's Aftershock is on my birthday this year, too. So
nice.
Even
When's
more
your birthday?
so. October 3rd.
Yeah, see, it's so weird because usually every year it's either on my birthday or close to, because mine's October 11th.
Okay,
and usually it's right around my birthday, or it's always my birthday weekend.
Right. Yeah.
It's a trip that's earlier this year too.
Yeah, I just saw it yesterday and was like mentioning like, Aftershock's on my birthday this year. That's cool, you know.
Nice. Well, see, then you should just have a birthday party in the parking lot and play, and you can invite Danny to come out to the parking lot.
There we go. Yeah.
Cool. Well, you guys rock, and everybody's got to check out your music. It's badass musicianship, and definitely will hit you in the feels, which is what we need today, because like even you have this one song, Watch the World Change. Mm-hmm. And oh my God, that's the one thing I can say is for my bro is thank God he's not here to watch this world change, because he would be cursing it as he was before he passed away.
That's good. I do have to correct you though. It's watch the weather change.
Oh, duh. Yeah, watch the weather change. Yeah, I knew that. But I was see, that's a perfect example of what I was talking about before. You know, when you're thinking something and it gives you meaning. Yeah, that's what happened. It's like that's what immediately went into my head.
And you could be, to be fair, too, on the last record, we had a track called Turn Off the World. So you could just have been mashing the two of them up. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to turn off the world right now.
Yeah. That
we might just take a break. I came up with something anyway last year that I think is the cure, is basically have a music festival for the whole world. And then we could stop hating each other and attacking each other and being assholes, because that doesn't happen at a music festival.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, the dream, but yeah, it's unfortunately a far-fetched dream. I feel like turning off the world is closer.
It's kind of like Miss America asking for world peace, you know?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Well, you guys, I hope you rock that festival. I'm going to have to look into that festival. And I hope to see you at Aftershock. But most importantly, everybody's got to go check you guys out, follow you on socials, get your music, buy your merch, or they can't listen to my show.
And yes, please. I all of it. We appreciate all of it. You check us out, hit us up on social media, all of it. We love it. Thanks.
Well, thank you. And thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Yes, thank you for having me. I really, really had a good time. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.